So in today's video, I'll be showing you my step-by-step process to edit a full music video using Premiere Pro and After Effects. Look, music video editing seems a lot complicated, but in this video, I'll break it down easily in just 3 steps to edit a full music video from start to finish. So if you're a beginner or even an advanced video editor, you can follow along. And for context, we'll start off in Premiere Pro, where we'll organize the footage and line it up, also known as sequencing. Then we'll jump into After Effects to add the spicy VFX on there. So if you want to follow along with me, I'll leave all the practice footage in the description for free, and I would also link all my premium packs used in this video. These packs are not necessary, but it saves a hella time. But now without wasting more time, let's just get into it. So now in Premiere Pro, what we're gonna do is firstly go over to new project and create a new project right here. So you can name it anything you want. I'm gonna just set it to like music video masterclass and save it wherever you want by going into browse and save it wherever you want. Let me just do that real quick. So I'll save it right here. I'll hit select and just like that, and now we'll hit create to create that project. We're gonna skip this part because we're gonna use our own footage, so we're gonna hit skip to skip this. And right here, now if I go into the right workspace, I'm gonna actually go into the default one. So let's see which is the default one. In the starter, yeah. So yeah, I'm in the starter panel, and now in here we'll start editing the project. So firstly, let me just quickly go through all of these panels. So this is our timeline right here. This is our toolbar, and this is where we'll import all of our footage. This is the program menu where we'll see our results, and this is the properties where we can edit the properties and stuff. Now to start it all off, we'll create 3 different folders. Actually, first will be called music, because in here we'll be adding the music that we got from the music video, and then the second folder will be called performance. So performance right here. Don't mind if I messed up the spelling. And the last one will be the b-rolls. So b-rolls right here. So we got everything organized. Now I'm gonna open up and find all the file explorer and just go over to the footage folder. So this is the footage folder. This will be linked in the description. Just import all of these footages into your timeline. So select all of these, including the music. So this is the music one, and drag it into your this panel right here, the project panel, and you can see all of our footage is right here, and our song is also right here. So firstly, we're gonna take this music. So this is the music. If I show you, so I'm gonna add my music into the music folder. So just drag it into the music folder, and now if you open it, you can see we got the music right here. We'll close it for now, then go back. And now to separate our footage and our b-roll, what I'm gonna do is just see which footage are the longest. So if it's over 1 minute, it's probably the performance scene, because all the b-rolls are, as you can see, all other b-rolls are short, as you can see, 6 minutes. You can even sort it like this to see it better. So you can sort it like this and see the duration right here. All of the footages which are above 1 minute, so this is 2 minutes, these and these are all performance. So I'm gonna select all of these. This is as well, this is, and I guess that's all the performance scene we have in here. Oh, I missed this one, so I'm gonna select this one as well, and this one and this one. And with that, I think that's all the performance scene. So I'm gonna now drag all of these up and just drag and drop it into the performance folder. So everything is organized. Now you can see we have 15 performance short. Now all of these other footage are b-roll. So I'm gonna select all of these now in bulk. So select all of these and paste it into the b-roll folder. So now you can see all of our files are organized. This way it will be easier for us to edit. Now we'll actually drag it into the timeline by creating a sequence. So to create the sequence, what we're gonna do is, if we go into the bottom in the project file, if we go in here in new item, just create a sequence. So you can see sequence. For me, I want it into 4K, so I'm gonna go into 4K USD preset right here and select one of these and go into the settings and go over to time base, and I'm gonna set it to 24 frames. Settings seems good to me. You can even change the names. So I'm gonna change the name to music video SQ, which means sequence, then hit OK, and now you can see our sequence is made and our timeline is right here. Now firstly, in our timeline, what we're gonna do is go into the music folder and drag and drop the music right here into our timeline in the audio audio panel, and then we're gonna go over to our performance scene. And now selecting all of these one by one, we're gonna drag it into our timeline. So like here, make sure the audio layer is below the footage layer and it is not overlapping. And I'm gonna select my another one, drag it right here as well, and we're gonna like zoom out a little bit so it is easier to see. Dragging another one right here, dragging another one right here, another one right here. So yeah, quickly stack all of your like performance scenes together. So let me just do that real quick. Now you can see I stacked all of my footages on top, and we have all the audio layers and the video layers together. Now to sequence it all, what we're gonna do is hit Command A on our keyboard and select all of these and bring it few frames forward, so on like 30 seconds in right here. And to sequence it all, we're gonna select it all together again. So hitting Control A again or Command A and right click it and go over to where it says sequence. So right here you can see synchronize. We just gonna hit that and make sure the settings audio track channel 1, because that's where our like audio is, and then hit OK. Now it will start doing its thing. And now after it's done sequencing, we're gonna select all of our access audio layer, unlink it by hitting Control L or Command L in our keyboard, and just delete all of these like audio files. And now if I show you my layers one by one, so selecting all of these, and if I disable these, you can see it is like properly synced to the video. So let me just pull up the volume. You can see it is like perfectly sequenced, and the same case with all of our other footage. So you can see it is like perfectly sequenced. But if your video is still not sequenced perfectly, well, one thing you can do is just like try to do it manually, but that takes a lot of time. So while shooting, make sure the volume of your speaker is loud enough so the Premiere Pro AI can actually detect the audio and synchronize it perfectly like this. By the way, all of these footage are by my bro Shotbyiddi Ig, so big shout out to him. Really good guy for like providing me all the footages and let me use it for the tutorial and helping y'all as well. So yeah, I'll link his social in the description. Make sure to follow him. He's a really good director. But anyways, now to start sequencing, what I'm gonna do is bring my audio layer up like that and select all of my footages again. Control A to select all of our footages. And now what we're gonna do is go over to the beat drop. So if I disable all of these, so this is the beat drop right here. So we're gonna start sequencing from right here, and for the beginning we'll add b-rolls and stuff, so don't worry about that right now. But if you're wondering how I'm like enable and disabling this layer, for that you actually gotta set a shortcut. So go into like keyboard shortcut right here and search up enable, and where it says enable right here, make sure it's on E. And then now after that you can see you can easily like enable and disable your clips, which is really helpful while editing music video. So now using this trick, I'll like disable all of the clips besides what's in my V1. So except my video one, I'm gonna disable all of those, and now I'm gonna just like see which part is best for our sequence. This part is not that impressive, maybe on other footage, so we're gonna disable that and see this clip is not good as well. This clip is actually cool, so I'm gonna use this. So for that I'm gonna hit C to cut, or you can just take your razor blade tool and just cut it like that. I'm just cutting it in the exact like the beat drop, and right here in the snare hit I'm gonna just make another cut and then put it in the top, because this is the footage we'll be using. So put it at the top above all of your clip. You can actually make an adjustment layer right here in your like performance and drag it in the timeline to indicate which footage we are using. So any layer above these adjustment layers are the footage we are using. Now we basically want to repeat this process until we have all of our like video is done. For me, I'm gonna just do it like 30 seconds because I don't want this video to be too long. So I'm gonna just add a 30-minute marker right there and also cut all of my footages according to there. So I'm gonna cut all of these. But of course, if you are doing a full music video, make sure to do it full, otherwise you won't get the full payment from the artist. So yeah, make sure to do the full. And now for the second footage we're gonna cut. So I'm gonna just see which is the good one. Maybe this one. I actually want something cool. I think this was the best one, so I'm gonna select this, cut it right here and cut it into the another 808 hit and put it above and disable the footage. and you can see it is looking pretty good right here. Now after that, maybe I think this footage is really cool, so I'm gonna cut it right here. And I'm gonna cut it right here, disable all of these, put it above. So yeah, sequencing is really simple. As you can see, it is basically repeating this process until you have all of your videos done. So I'm just gonna run a real quick b-roll for y'all, because I don't want y'all to get bored. So yeah, just repeat the process until your video is done. And now I think I'm done with the performance scene, because you can see our footage, I trimmed it to the 30 seconds and I got it all done right here. I did the cut really slow because I will be doing VFX on top, so it makes sense to make the cut really slow so we can add VFX on top. Now let me just play it through and see how it looks. So let me make this bigger and like this. So there you can see it looks really cool. So now for the intro, you can see we got a little bit of music in the intro as well, like it's a 15-second intro. So for that, what you can do is go into your main folder, the project one, and then go into the bin, the b-roll bins, and in here we got all the b-roll, so we can use it at the beginning. So there's no trick to do this, like go over and take a look at your b-rolls and see what works the best, maybe something like this. So basically looking at all of these b-rolls and seeing which works the best. Maybe this looks really cool to me, so let me drag this onto my sequence. At the start there's a lot of like instrumentals, so for that I think I'm gonna cut it right here, and according to the instrumental we're gonna add like different b-rolls. Maybe this car b-roll right here, we're gonna trim this and drag it right here. And also with these b-rolls you can like slow it down, so it is like 60 frames, so you can slow it down like 50% and it will look cool. So yeah, 50% slowed down, and right here I'm gonna trim it, and we're gonna grab another b-roll from here, maybe the tire one, and just like this paste it right here. And we're gonna slow this down again, go over to speed and duration and 50%, and do the same thing, repeat and repeat. So now we have show you the intro. We got something like this. Let me just bring up the volume real quick. And yeah, this is looking something like this. At the starting, we are editing according to the music. Now in here is a slow beat. So for that, I'll add few more long b-rolls in here. So let me just do that real quick. And now I just added all the b-rolls at the starting as well. So let me summarize how I did it all. So let me just put it right here and bring this up. So at the starting, as I showed, I added these b-rolls according to the music, slow-mos and shit. And in this slow-mo, I added a real quick like opacity dim. So at the beat drop, we get this clip like that, which are in normal speed, and now that goes into our performance scene. And I think it looks pretty cool. All of our edits looking cool. You can review this, and if you don't like any of these footage, you can switch it up, or you can send it to your artist or see if he likes it or not. But for me right now, I'm really happy with the results. So now we'll start color grading our footage. So to color grade, there's two methods. So for that, I'll create a real quick adjustment layer right here, put it all of our clips above all of our clips right here. And then firstly, we're gonna go into the color panel. So color panel right here, and right here you can see all of these values where we can like color grade. So as I was saying, there's two methods to color grade. One is to use LUTs, which are really easy, and the second method is doing manually. Color grading can be tricky, so for that I have my own LUT pack that I use for my own videos. So if you want to check that out, I'll link it in the description. But to add those LUT, go into where it says basic correction and where it says input LUT. Just go over to here and hit browse. Now go over to wherever you saved your pack. So for me it's right here. So if I show it into icons, this is the LUT pack right here, Signal LUT pack. I'm gonna open this up and you can see a lot of this LUTs right here. So you can add any of these and easily color grade your footage like that in single click. You can see that looks really hard. This color grade actually looks really hard, but in here I got a lot. So just like mess around until you find something that you like. So maybe something like this. I'm gonna try in something like 5, but I think for me, I think 4 looked the best, so I'm gonna drag in 4. Really easily we color graded our footage. Now to perfect it all, you can see some footages are like little too bright. For that, go into select that footage and go into the source and just lower down the exposure of the source. So maybe something like this, and lower down the highlights as well, so it get applied into all of our footages and even like shadows and stuff, so everything is balanced. And this is also too bright, so for this the same thing, bringing up the contrast and lowering down the highlights just a little bit. And you can see that easily every footage of ours is color graded before and after. But as I said, there's two methods to do this without using LUTs. If you don't have the money to invest on some LUTs, I recommend doing the manual way. So let me show you that as well. Let me copy this adjustment layer and remove this LUTs from here. And I'm not going too in depth on color grading right now because it's a whole nother chapter. But basically what you can do to color grade your log footage is bring up your contrast, bring up your highlights until you get something that you like, bring down the shadows, bring up the whites, bring up the highlights again, bring up the saturation to get back the color. So something like that, you can see we get the color in our footage. And now to tweak temperature and state, go into your color wheels, adjust it according to your liking. So for me, I'm going for a blue tone, so I'm gonna add a little bit of blue on the mid tones right here and a little bit of yellow in our like highlights. And then you can also go over to the curves and make a simple S curve to add contrast overall. So maybe something like this. And now you can see this looks pretty decent. It is done really quickly. You can use this method if you are like low on time, but if you want to do it professionally, we can use the LUTs. You can see our LUT is looking way more professional than what we made. You can see the skin tones are messed up in this, but in this one it looks really true and like real, I would say. So yeah, that's the overview in color grading, but for me, I'm gonna use the LUT one that we have right here. Now with that, we're done sequencing, so I'm gonna go into the starter panel again, and now we're gonna export this and bring it into After Effects to add the VFX. So to export this, we're gonna go into the export panel, just go over to export and make sure in format you are in as.264 and just save it wherever you want. I'm again save it right here, hit save, and then go into the video, go over to more and hit these two boxes and go down and bring up the bitrate to whatever you like. For me, I think around like 70 to 80 looks good, so I'm gonna set it to 75. And then yeah, this is my export settings. If you want to get the max quality, what you can do is use something like a QuickTime, but QuickTime actually requires a lot of space and it is not that big of a difference, so I just like to go with the S.264 with a higher bitrate. You can even set it to like 100 if you want to get the max quality, so we are efficient with our storage and with our quality as well. Now after this, just hit export and it will start exporting your video, so give it a second. This of course depends on your computer power, so yeah, just wait till it exports. Now after your export is done, we're gonna close Premiere Pro and then we're gonna open up our Finder right here, and where you saved it, you can see our like footage is exported. Now you can see it is exported and ready to go. Everything looks fine to me. So now it's time to fire off our After Effects and start doing the VFX on this shit. So fire off After Effects right here, and now after After Effects opens up, go to new project, and right here we're gonna drag and drop our footage. So we're gonna open our Finder and drag and drop it right here, and we're gonna straight drop it into our sequence because our footage settings are pretty much good. So we're gonna create a new sequence, and you can see our footage is right here. Now make sure to save it, because we don't want to lose our files if it crashes. So save it where we want. I'm gonna name it AE and music video Masterclass. So I'm gonna name this and save it right here. Now after that, we're gonna select our footage layer, which is this, and right click it. And firstly, we're gonna scene edit detection this. So right click on it, go to scene edit detection, which is on the bottom, and then just hit OK. Make sure these are the settings and hit OK, and let it do its thing for now. It can take quite some time according to your like duration, so let it do its thing for now. Now after it's done, you can see it added cut to right exactly where are the cuts are. So that's exactly what we want. So firstly, before we start VFX in here, what we're gonna do is separate our like performance scene and our intro. So for that, right here the beat drops and our like performance start. So we're gonna pre-comp both of those into their own comps. So for that, I'll select all of these and right click it and hit pre-comp, and I'm gonna name it like part 1 right here. And then in the intro, we're gonna select all of the intro right here and right click it, pre-comp it, and we're gonna name this intro. So it is like organized. Now you can go into both of these and open these up, and you're gonna work on this separately. Firstly, I'm of course gonna work on the performance scene, add VFX right here, and then do the intro. So now to add VFX in here, it's really easy. For like unique effects, you can always take my channel out, because in here you can see I have like 300 videos at this point with like different kind of effects, like unique effects breaking down. So if you ever run out of like FX ideas, go into here and add all of these effects and transition to your videos. Or if you don't want to spend all of that time, what you can do is use a preset pack. So if you go into my effects and preset, after you install my presets and stuff, you can just go to animation presets and use all of these packs to add those VFX like really quickly. So if I want to add a shake right here, I can add like shake like this, like that easily using my presets. So I'll link it in the description if you want to check it out. So but right now I'm gonna show you how to do it manually, like really simple VFX and stuff. So firstly, right here I like to add a zoom. So for that, I'll bring up the scale, or if you have Sapphire, I highly recommend using blur motifs, but that's not the topic right now. So I'm gonna go over to scale and hit the stopwatch right here and put it on like here, and bring up the size at the first. You can even hit Y in your keyboard and put your anchor point in your like artist face and just like zoom it in like that, and then easy ease those keyframes by hitting F9 in your keyboard and go over to the graph. And now again, right here I'm going really quickly with everything, but right here I'm gonna make a graph like this, and then add a motion blur, so we can get this really smooth like zoom in at the start. Maybe you can make it even shorter and even adjust it accordingly. And right here, to add a shake, we're gonna create an adjustment layer by right clicking in the blank space adjustment layer and trim it to the duration size. And for the shake, you can use like something like a wheel position at this, and bring up the speed to around like 10, and bring up the amount so around like there, and bring up the shutter angle so we get motion blur. And just hit the stopwatch in the amount, wheel amount, and go over to the end and just lower it down to 0. And then we're gonna ease these keyframes again, go into the graph and add a same graph in here like this. And now if you play that through, you can see we have this insane shake. I guess that's too insane, so maybe we're gonna set it something like this, so it is pretty decent. Now if you play that through, you can see we have a crazy shake right here. To combine with it, we're gonna add something like a exposure and hit the stopwatch in the exposure as well, so add some energy, something like that. And right here, after that, I like to pre-comp this clip right here, pre-comp it once more. And I did this because I want to add a slow-mo in here. So for that, you can use something like time warp and use this to add the slow-mo. So firstly, make it 100 at the normal speed, and as it goes, bring up the keyframes, and we're gonna bump this up to around like 200 at the middle, and we're gonna lower it down to 30 after that. So we have this crazy slow-mo effect right here. And then at the end, we're always gonna add another keyframe and go over to the end and bring it up until your footage like finishes, so around like here, and then put it at the end. Easy ease this keyframe by hitting F9, go into the graph and go over to the graph, and for me, I'm gonna create a graph like this. So something like this, as you can see. Now I also like to add a zoom with it. So for that, I'll create another null object and link this to our like footage by using the parent one. And then we're gonna select Y and set the anchor point in our like artist face and bring up the scale by hitting S and hit the stopwatch right here and just like make a quick zoom animation. So something like this, putting keyframes like this, F9 to ease again. Now go over to the graph and just like go over to speed graph this time and pick it where you want it to zoom it most. So making a graph like this. And now if you turn on the motion blur and play that through, you can see our like zoom is looking really dope. And at the end, we're gonna zoom it out. So we're gonna set it to 100 and then we're gonna do the same thing with the graph. But for this, I'm gonna go over to value graph and make it something like this, something like this. So we get the smooth zoom out. So something like that. And at the beginning, if you get glitches like this, make sure you add something like a motion tile to fix that and set the output width and height to 200 by 200 and hit mirror edges and put it off of all of it. You can see now that fixed. VFX is not hard at all. Like people really overcomplicated that easily. Without any plugin, we have these crazy results. Now for all these clips, it's the same thing. We can actually utilize this zoom to like add a zoom out at the start to make a transition. For that, I'll add another adjustment layer using workflow. This plugin actually makes everything really smooth because you don't have to like right click and add an adjustment layer then trim it. It just trims it itself and adds an adjustment layer on top. And if you download my preset in the description and use something like a zoom in V2, you can use this to transition through using the zoom. So it adds this like really smooth zoom. So yeah, that's why I like preset pack this much because it makes everything really easy. Even like 6, we have a beat drop right here. Now for that, we're gonna actually trim this and pre-comp it real quick, pre-comp it and add another preset in here, fast to slow-mo. Exactly does this, but it is automated. So like that. Then right here, we're gonna add another adjustment layer, another preset, something like a NV2 to add a zoom right here with it. And I think I'm gonna remove the exposure and the flicker, something like that. And then you're gonna add another adjustment layer and you can really like stack different effects on this. So you can add some kind of shake or distortion. This type of distortion would look hard. Maybe something like that. As you can see, it looks insanely hard. So yeah, the possibilities are endless and preset packs makes it like really easy to add VFX. I'm not doing this to like promote my products or stuff. I really do use a lot of my preset on all of my edits. So if you go into my Instagram and see any of my edits, you'll see all of my preset pack all over it because you know it just saves times and helps you make more money by getting more clients. So yeah, preset packs are really goated in After Effects. I'ma actually add a curve right here and make it a little darker. But yeah, as I was saying, preset packs are really goated. I'd recommend everybody like making their own presets to save time. If you can like afford other presets, just make your own presets and just use those for your own like style and stuff. That's the best way. But if you want to save time, if you don't want to make it yourself, already made preset packs like mine helps a lot while editing. But now moving on in this scene, think I'ma add subtitles halfway. So around like this, I'm gonna trim it right here in this 808. And before all of these, we're gonna pre-comp it right here and then go into this pre-comp and I'm gonna actually camera track and add some subtitles. So yeah, for that, go into the tracker in the right side and just hit track camera and then go over to advanced and hit detail analysis and do it, let it do a thing for now real quick. And now after that's done, you can see we get a lot of these like track points that we can use to add the text in here. So yeah, select one of these around like here and hit create text and camera. And in our timeline, you can see it created a text and camera. We're gonna lower down the size of the text and we also gonna change the font to something like enter. So it's a little simple. So it looks a little simple. So something like this, enter bold and even something like this and lower down the size more. And now just type in the lyrics. So we really just like typing what it says and even trim it. So it just like sinks in. He says right here, so something like that, and trimming it right here. If you don't know how to trim, it is you can use Ctrl+Shift+D in your keyboard or Command+Shift+D in your keyboard to trim. And right here he says pop me and the N word. So something like this. I will blur this out. And at the last he says then, so we're gonna trim it once more and just make it then. Oh, actually right here he says gone. So something like this. And now that easily you can see our text is done. You can actually select all of these and just align it accordingly. So something like this, even like rotations and stuff. Yeah, something like this looks cool to me. And then lastly, we're gonna select all of these, including our camera, and pre-comp it into a single comp. So we'll hit pre-comp and we're gonna name this text right here. And then in here, just add any kind of glow. You can use the normal glow if you like, looks cool. But for me, I will use something like an optic glow and bring it up and bring up the amount and then bring it up more, and in alpha channel set it to extended almost and just add a drop shadow with it. And that easily you can see we have this really cool text going on. So yeah, that easily you can add this type of text. To enhance your effect more, we're gonna add another adjustment layer, and at the top add any type of like preset or effect that you like. For me, of course, I'm gonna add something like a zoom firstly to add something to the scene that looks cool. And then we're gonna go back into our main comp and we're gonna combine it with the shake. So we're gonna add something like a horizontal wiggle and just lining it up right here. Now you can see that wiggle and that shake looks really cool. And remember, I made like a cut right here because he was doing this really cool gesture. So I want to emphasize that by adding some 3D models in there. So to add those 3D model, I'm actually going to use my 3D overlay pack. So let me just pull that over. So this is the pack right here, overlay 3D edition, and it got a lot of like 3D model that can be used in music videos. Right now he's talking about perks, so I'm gonna add that. So you can see perks, explosion and floating. You can bring this up in here and just use this to add those crazy like 3D model according to his gesture. You can see this animation is really cool, and even like these type of animation really easily. So you can see these type of floating animation as well. So for me, I'm gonna use the explosion, but before I do that, I'm gonna actually make our clip slow-mo. So for that, we'll quickly pre-comp it into a new layer, and then I'm gonna add a preset called fast to slow-mo right here using my essential effects. I'll link it in the description if you want to check it out. Play with the keyframes if you want. And we're gonna create another adjustment layer on top and add a zoom right where he says that. So for that, I'm gonna use the essential effects v1 now, and we're gonna use something like zoom in and out and just line up the keyframes right here and just put it on his face like that, and just make the graph accordingly. So something like this, and maybe even something like this. And now after that's done, we're gonna add the perks explosion in here, drag and drop that, and now you can see like that we got that explosion right there. Looks crazy. We actually gonna add a curves in this like explosion to make it more realistic. So maybe something like this. And at the top, I'm gonna create an adjustment layer actually. So creating an adjustment layer on top and add something like a black and white CC, which adds this like crazy black and white CC in there with the glow lower down. So like here, so we get this really cool CC in here with it, maybe even a drop shadow. And now at the top, you can add another shake to like top it all off. And I think for the sake, I'm gonna use something like a best wiggle and just line it up like this maybe. And I'm gonna remove the flickers and the exposure because our scene is overexposed already. At the starting, creating another adjustment layer with some framers. And now if you play that through, you can see that looks really cool. So now moving on this scene, we're gonna do the same thing. Like it is like pretty repetitive. So we're gonna add an adjustment layer and we're gonna add something like a hard wiggle with the hit. Yeah, something like that. I don't have much to do in this scene, so I'm gonna add something like a hotspot transition. So hotspot transition v2, lining this up. And in this scene, I think I'm gonna pre-comp it and add like a bullet like floating models. So we're gonna go into project, go to finder and use any of these, maybe something like bullet floating up and something like a floating right here, lining it up right here. And now we can see that easily we got the 3D object in there, and we can use something like a lumetri color to match everything in. So I'm gonna lower down the saturation according to our video and temperatures as well. So maybe something like that, and even like contrast and shit. And now that looks super cool. And you can add like camera blurs in it, maybe something like that. You can see that looks super cool. So yeah, the process is the same for the performance. So let me just do this few scenes and see ya guys, because I don't want this video to be too long again. now after a few minutes, I think it's done and it is looking something like this. So let me bring up the volume and show you guys real quick. So you can see that looks really insane. Now I think our performance scene is done, so we're gonna go into our b-rolls and start adding VFX in this. So we're gonna go into this intro comp, and you can see it is like completely blank, but we ain't gotta do much in the scene because we just gotta add our title. So yeah, right here I see 808, so I'm gonna add a quick little shake right here using Essential FX V2. Yeah, if you want to check it out, I'll link it in the description as I said. With a zoom, so real quick, add a zoom before that in an adjustment layer like that. Looks cool. Maybe turning off the flicker and the exposure from it. Also, if you are worrying if I don't have Sapphire for like Essential FX, I actually got a version without like any plugin required, so you can download that and use it. It's equally good, so yeah, there's no worries. And right here we're gonna do the same thing, so copy this stick and this right here, paste it right here like that. And at the starting in all of these clips we're gonna add a quick flash. So for that I'll create an adjustment layer and set it to 1 frame right here and use something like an exposure and bring up the exposure right here, and also add something like a levels and just make it something like this, so we get a cool flash like that. And we can add it in the 1 framer at the starting as well. And at this clip actually we're gonna add adjustment layer and add a zoom in right there. And at this clip we're gonna add adjustment layer and add a flicker in. And at this 2 scene we're gonna add the title card. So for the title card, just write whatever your music video title is. So for me, I'm gonna create a text by right clicking in a blank space text and just write down your title. For me I'm gonna write whatever music video, and we're gonna center the anchor point real quick and align it at the center and bring up the size. So music video right there, and like that, trim it in the beginning and at the front, and we're gonna duplicate it again and lower this down, and we're gonna write the artist name or whatever. So I'm gonna name it something like artist name. Of course, write your artist name right here, but for me I don't have that, so we're gonna lower down the size and set it to something like a red color. And we're gonna change the font to something funky this time, so something like a ball man, something like artist name right here. And that easily you can see we have a pretty decent music video title going on. You can of course customize your title according to your liking, but yeah, this for me looks cool. And you can of course use my 3D title packs to add those crazy 3D titles. I'll leave a tutorial down below if you want to learn how to use my 3D title packs and create those insane 3D titles. So if you're interested, the link will be in the description. And anyways, I'm gonna add a drop shadow right here to add some shadows in this text and stuff, both of these like that. And yeah, titles are that easy. You can just like lower down the opacity of the title as it goes, and yeah, that easily you can see we have our music video title right here. You can add a blur in the background, but I don't think that looks too good, the example we are showing, so I'm gonna leave it right this. But I think with that, if I play this through, and in this clip I think I'm gonna add something like a mini max hit. So we have the mini max hit right here, looks cool. And you can also animate the scales, so it is like zooming it, so maybe something like this. Now if I play this through, you can see our b-rolls are also done. B-rolls are the most easy thing to do, like you ain't gotta do much. And here we can add an exposure to transition through, and again you can add more VFX, but I think I'm leave this right here because I'm really going with the light VFX style right here, nothing too crazy. And now you can see our VFX is done, so it's time to export and send it off to our client. So for that, what we're gonna do is go over to file, go to export, and where it says add to render queue, we're gonna go over to here. And in render settings, we're gonna go to output model, and in the format again we'll use S.264 with a bitrate of something like 100 again, so it doesn't compress. and all the values are the same. Then hit OK. Make sure to go into the settings and make sure it is on best and resolution on full, and then hit OK and just render it wherever you want. So for me, I'm gonna save it right here and rename this to music video VFX and save and hit render. So now let it do its thing. It can take some time because we added a lot of VFX. So go in a walk or anything and it will be done by you come back. But anyways, that's it for today's video, guys. If you like this video, please consider the like button. And I'm playing the result in the scene right here. This is what we got. This video was actually long, so I really appreciate y'all sticking through. And if you want to download some editing assets, go into the description and check out my pack. And I'll also leave the all-in-one bundle where you can get all of my pack 60% off, like a flat 60% off for y'all. And as I said, it comes with all of my packs, so yeah, that's really good. But if you want more music video VFX, make sure to subscribe to the channel to stay locked in, and go into my channel. As I said, I got 300 videos teaching you VFX, so you'll never run out of effects and stuff. Follow me on Instagram, join my editing server, Discord server, where you can connect with like-minded editors like you. But yeah, now I'm gonna see you on the next one. Peace.